Church family, I hope the holidays have been a redemptive and joyful time for you and your family, or you and your roommates. I know things may have looked a lot different than many of us had hoped. I know from my family that COVID had kept us from seeing some of our extended family, and there's really just no other way to say it. It's just a bummer right now. I think part of the redemptive joy, though, that comes with this time of year here at the end is that it forces us to look back and grieve the losses of the previous year before we can really look forward to what the Lord has for us in 2021. Jesus says to us in Matthew 5, "Blessed are those who mourn." Why? "For they shall be comforted." Hear this, there is a unique experience of the presence and power of Jesus when we take our pain and disappointment to Him. He can actually heal us. If I can ask you as your pastor, what loss from 2020 do you need to take to Jesus? What are you not mourning that you desperately need to mourn? See, the temptation is to think that because your pain or your loss doesn't compare to others, maybe you're thinking, man, I didn't lose my job or my house here. The temptation is to think that you don't need to grieve that. Whatever you have, friends, this is a tool of the enemy that keeps us dragging around a suitcase of things that only Jesus is strong enough to carry. As we head into 2021, I am praying that we collectively become a church family that grieves well, so that we can help introduce our city to our burden-bearing Lord. Make no mistake, there is going to be a fallout of need for counseling and for friendship and for help. And hear me, as the people of God, this is our turf. That's our thing. Our message is that the sin and brokenness in and around you doesn't have to own you. That through Jesus Christ, you are forgiven and called not guilty before God. That through Jesus, you have an identity, a new identity as a beloved son or daughter of the King. That through Jesus, you are an ambassador of His kingdom and His glory in this world. What might Jesus do, New City, if we collectively say yes to whatever the call of obedience He has on our lives in this next season? Something I'm grieving as your pastor is having to make a tough, but I believe wise decision that we will be gathering online only as a church through the month of January. Seeing how numbers spiked after the Thanksgiving holiday and assuming a similar spike will happen here after Christmas, we need a few weeks to make sure that we aren't infected without showing symptoms and spreading the virus to the vulnerable parts of our church family inadvertently. Also, I want to level with you, my wife is 8 months pregnant, and so we are officially at the point that if I get COVID, I wouldn't be allowed in the hospital during her delivery. And so as I'm personally trying to be extra cautious, I believe this decision offers a possible solution that still serves our church in this insane season. Without a doubt, this will be a decision that some of you love and some of you, if you're honest, hate. If I can just ask you, pray for me and for the leaders of our church that God would give us wisdom. If in 2 weeks we see that the numbers aren't jumping like we expect, we will definitely entertain the idea of returning to physical gatherings sooner than that. But unless you hear otherwise, our plan is that we will return in person on Sunday, February the 7th. Church family, we are almost through this. Once the vaccine is widely distributed, things like online-only gatherings, Lord willing, will be a thing of the past. Excitingly, though, we plan to come back on February 7th in our new facility. I couldn't be more excited about this. One of the ways we are going to better position our church family as an outpost of renewal here in Champaign-Urbana is by having a permanent home, a predictable place that demonstrates hospitality, that is versatile for training and counseling and gathering, and can be used missionally as we find creative ways to bless others with it. This is a worthwhile investment for our church family. Our new location will be at 2110 Fox Drive, and it's going to be that kind of space. It's 3 minutes from the center of the U of I campus, and it's nestled back behind Harvest Market right off of Neal Street. Being accessible to campus was extremely important to our staff team as we looked at many potential locations. And this spot has a bus stop directly next to it. The stop is called Fox at Christie Clinic. This space also has plenty of parking for all of our families, our young professionals, and college students who prefer to drive. And so, man, the other piece here is that the Lord made the numbers work. I mean, I was looking at portable spaces for our church that would cost more than we're about to start paying for this one. And between the numerous external churches and individuals that support New City and the increasing internal giving, this facility is well within what we can afford, even with paying for the improvements we'll be making. Friends, this is an incredible grace from the Lord. Getting this space ready for us, hear me, is going to take some investment on our part. This is an easy way for us to share time together over the next month as we're not gathering in our large worship gathering. By painting, tearing up old carpet. And man, if you're honest and you're like, man, I'm not the most coordinated person with that kind of thing, cheering on your friends from a distance. As soon as we get all the final insurance documents lined out, hopefully over the next week, Darian, New City's operations coordinator, will be working to coordinate serving opportunities. And here's what I'm asking from you. Will you sign up to serve? This is an all-hands-on-deck kind of moment for our church. Hear me, the space isn't the reason we exist. It's not. The church is not a building, it is a people. But we need a space to gather and fulfill the direction of Jesus for his church. So, jump in the game. One last thing here before we go. Our church is growing in gospel depth and size. We wanted to give everybody several months of gatherings so that whoever wanted to become a founding member here in New City would have ample time to make it through our Next Steps process. Next Steps is a 3-step course that is really meant to help you find your place in God's story, first and foremost, become a member of New City, and discover how you can use your unique gifts to make a difference here in Champaign-Urbana. And the last missing piece, if you've been through so far, in that Next Steps process was the official membership covenant that our members will agree to together. These are the things that we promise one another in the hopes, and we promise the Lord in the hopes of living out God's disciple-making mission in our city. Well, I have good news. The membership covenant is officially done. So if you've completed at least step 2, you'll be getting a copy of the covenant emailed to you later this week with a few next steps there in the email. We will officially vote in members for the first time this coming March. So hear me, if you haven't, make sure you finish up the Next Steps process before then. As a reminder, you can take those steps in any order, and they happen every Sunday at 4 p.m. New City, our future is bright. I love you. I love being your pastor. You are loved and you are sent.